I know they have a few amusement parks just outside London, a few miles north. Not sure how many they have in Manchester, but they managed to find themselves a very apt roller coaster for this first innings of the final ODI. It was going up and down, India first, then England, back to India, England in charge, and even at the end, when Overton was looking good with Willie, you looked at about 280, 290, and suddenly a couple of wickets in the blink of an eye, and England have wrapped up their innings in 45.5 overs, 259 all out. One of those blasphemous things you almost say. If you're given 50 overs to bat, find a way to bat it, whatever may happen. England chose not to do that. It's one of those cultures that was developed in 2015, but in those days, of course, they were scoring 350 plus. On Cricbuzz Live, I'm joined by Zaheer Khan and Joy Bhattacharjya. Joy, I think the thing England will most be disappointed about was the fact that they didn't bat their allotted overs.
I'm not even sure about that anymore. Given the way this England team thinks, I'm not even sure about the fact that they were disappointed. I think, they're disappointed. They didn't sort of, as they say again, words that I hate using, execute their plans. But yes, that's what I'm saying. When Overton and Willie were going well, you were wondering they could have delayed taking a chance for another 3-4 overs. And I think that was one cardinal mistake. And then after Overton gets out, the way Willie got out after that as well, it's something that you not expect out of batsmen who've just sort of played their way into that kind of a situation there. And I think, the way Overton got out after Willie got out, it's the other way around. My apologies. So yeah, exactly. I think they threw it a bit away in the end.
Also, earlier, Zaheer, even if you had to look at the one partnership, we were on Cricbuzz Combox together, and as long as Buttler was there, he was the glue. Even if you had lost a wicket at the other end, he could have stayed till the end. And not only was it his dismissal, it was his dismissal against the same plan that Liam Livingstone fell trapped to. So you almost see a guy walking in front of you, falls into a manhole. You're like, okay, I cannot walk that way. He falls into the same manhole.
I think from India's point of view, that was a turning point, isn't it? Like, just before that, England were very nicely placed. It was just about batting those 15 overs. Runner ball also would have gotten them 90, 100 runs. So here is the situation, right? Like you try to be batting in one fashion. I think the style of play and the expected approach has been very evident, and Indian bowlers really took advantage of that. I think that is something you have to give credit to Rohit as well. Today, Chahal was a bit on the expensive side, but he continued with Chahal. And purely because he knew it's a very calculated gamble, and if you fall onto the right side, you will end up chasing 40-50 runs less than what is expected. And I think that is what we've seen right now. So from India's bowling, I think the approach and the mindset was to keep thinking wickets, finding ways. Even if you are expensive, no problem, and that's how Hardik also approached. He bowled superbly in the first 4 overs, but after that, to get Buttler and Livingstone both out, it was pure ego play. And I think that is something which you have to give credit to the Indian bowlers to understand the brand of cricket which England is trying to play and use that same thing against them. I think it's a classic case of just simple game awareness or tactical awareness of how the other team is looking to be playing, how they're looking to be ultra aggressive, and you just basically find a way and stick to the options which are going to put you in the high percentage wicket taking zone. And England have paid a price for that. There's no question about it. I think what we have to wait and see now is that how Indian batters capitalize on this. In the previous game also, they were in the similar kind of position. The halfway through the match, when the first inning was over, you would have 9 out of 10 times you would have said that, okay, Indian team is going to go out there and win this match. They're again in the same position. It's a decider. The pressure is going to be added. Now, how they go on about starting the innings, I think the approach is going to be really critical. And that start from the Indian batters is going to be the most important factor of this run chase.
Well, we will come to the run chase, but before that, I think plaudits are well overdue. Hardik Pandya, Joy, we talked about him briefly. as not really being the sixth bowler in a traditional way that we know it. The sixth bowler is someone who fills in. I'm not sure it's a phrase that quite sits well with him, because he's almost coming across as a frontline wicket-taking option, showing aggression, having a plan. In this case, it was a plan to Liam Livingstone, and not just those two early wickets and then, okay, Hardik, thank you very much. 7 overs, 4 for 24.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the fact that India now has two very intelligent bowlers in the middle overs. I mean, I'm not saying that the others are not intelligent, but both Yajuvendra Chahal and Hardik Pandya have such a good command over the situation, such good game intelligence that they just played it. The way Hardik got his wickets at every time, putting that pressure on the batsman, allowing him to come, then giving that short ball and just a bit faster or just a bit slower, and the batsman's mistiming. I think that's the key to it. And again, somebody like a Chahal, he just gets hit off his length. He gets hit for a six, doesn't bother, goes for the same place, and they fall for it. I mean, that is the one thing. Hardik Pandya was absolutely superb at that point in time. And again, the other interesting thing is if you see the way the innings has progressed, the wickets have been in bunches. Two first, then another two. Then there was only one where there was a single wicket, then another two, and then right at the end. So the bunching up of the wickets has also been really useful for India because they've tended to get both set batsmen. If you have a look at it, you'll see both set batsmen have gone very often. And that's made a huge difference for India.
Well, it sort of goes with the roller coaster theory. If you have to have a roller coaster, the wickets have to fall in bunches because you have two and then a crash and then up again and then a crash and then up again. It's quite a giddying ride. And that's where the giddying ride is finished at 259. But Hardik just mentioned after the innings, Zaheer, that the short ball is something he's very conscious about. He looks at it in ODI cricket as a wicket-taking option, and it's something he's always used and had as a weapon.
Yes, if you look at the start of Hardik's career, also he's been using that short pitch ball to good effect, and then improved upon his lengths towards the fuller side as he progressed in his career. So that is something which has been the strength of Hardik Pandya. Hardik Pandya's strength as a bowler has been that short pitch delivery, and also the fact that he bowls 140 plus. So that is something which has always helped him. It's good to see that he's bowling 6-7 overs. I think that's the Hardik's bowling has not been an issue. It's about how his body coping with the workload of bowling has been the discussing factor for last 3-4 years now. So after a long time, you're seeing him in this bowling fitness kind of building, and him bowling regularly. I think this is the biggest positive for the Indian team if he's managing himself and able to contribute in this manner. So the Hardik, the bowler, changes the balance in a huge way. I mean, you ask anyone around the world, and then they'll say the same thing. The Hardik, the package is very exciting. I know that is for him the batting and the whole thing what comes along with batting and that six hitting ability, all that, and him wanting to bat higher up the order. All those factors are important for him. But when you're looking at it from the team's perspective, I think Hardik, the bowler, in this kind of a form with him contributing with the bat is a far more attractive package than Hardik just as a batter.
Yeah, I mean, you try to think back to 50-50 type all-rounders over the years, and they're very difficult to find. Someone like Jacques Kallis comes to mind. Class batsman as he may have been, his real utility in ODI cricket came because he'd trundle up and give you those often 10 overs, sometimes a little less if he wasn't required. But I think one thing, Joy, that sums up Hardik's intelligence and his horses for courses approach is once he was done with the Livingstone plan, got Buttler to the same plan, pretty much all with short stuff. His first ball to Craig Overton was length or pitched up. He knew who he was bowling to.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Both he and Chahal, the awareness about who they are bowling to, what they want to bowl. And there's a second thing. They have a lack of fear. They go through with their plans. So both of them, if they get hit for a ball or two, according to a particular plan, it doesn't throw them off their plans. They have the ability to go through with it. And I think that's what Hardik's doing regularly on a regular basis for India. As I say, I completely agree with Zaheer. If he can continually bowl these kind of overs on a regular basis, then with him and Jadeja at that 6-7 spot, you've just got yourself a really, really strong core out there, which very few teams will have two really quality all-rounders like that at that position.
Yeah, I just thought of something that only people who eat that variety of food will appreciate, Joy. And there used to be the sauce for a particular kind of food. I wouldn't necessarily mention it, called HP sauce. And unless you actually put that sauce on that particular dish, it would be incomplete. So I think India has got a good bit of HP sauce with Hardik, the all-rounder, providing it for them. 4 wickets today, always contributing, and of course, a role with the bat if required in this coming innings. But Zaheer, if we rewind slightly to the start of England's innings, I mean, that where that roller coaster ride actually began, it was the early wickets. Roy may have hit 12 runs of the first over, but at the other end, it could have been floodgates being leaked. It wasn't. It was the discipline of Siraj, in only as a replacement, mind you, for Jasprit Bumrah, and he almost showed that he's walked on with Bumrah's shirt.
Well, obviously, you look at when at the toss. If you have to rewind it, go back to the toss, and after the toss, when England batting lineup heard that okay, Bumrah is not playing, uh, they would have sensed that okay, here's the opportunity. We can really put these bowlers under pressure, have a great start, and in comes Siraj, who has taken 2 wickets in the first over. So that really set the tone nicely for the Indian bowling lineup. There's no doubt about that, and also even if England batters were trying to be aggressive, uh, we were seeing the Indian bowling lineup, which is equal to the task. And again, I'm mentioning the tactical side of things when Chahal came to bowl only in the 18th over. So the morning freshness of the pitch, the way fast bowlers were going on, and obviously Hardik bowling those 4 overs really made the difference, because first 4 overs he's only given 2 runs, and had picked up wickets as well. So that is something which really had uh, India set that tone for the games, and then England batters had no option but to change the gears and bat sensibly in that middle phase. I think if they were smart enough, they would have or they should have done the same thing, similar kind of application when 35th over was in progress, and both Butler and Livingston were there. One of them needed to bat till the end. So if Livingston was the aggressor, it was absolutely fine if he was taking the higher risk options. But Butler, after losing Livingston, should have controlled the innings and made sure that they bat out all 50 overs.
Yeah, 198 for six at the fall of Livingston's wicket. You still had 13 and a half overs. And as Zahir mentioned, even a runner ball, nudge it around at a runner ball, that still takes you to 280. A couple of boundaries here and there. You're talking 290. One big six here, you get to 298, which was the prescribed score by Zaheer Khan. But in all fairness, England should have got there. Now, when you look at the predictions, really, Joy, you were in the middle. But in isolation, so congratulations on getting that prediction right. But I know we've talked a lot about how England have fallen short and how it was a crime not to bowl the bat to 50 overs. But in a decider, in isolation, 259, not the worst score in the world, is it?
No, it's not the worst score in the world, and Reece Topley has just had one superb match against us. There's a decent bowling attack. Okay, it's not their first choice bowling attack. There's no Jofra Archer there, but this is still a very, very decent attack, and they have enough out there. But you look at Overton, Willie, they have variety with Moeen Ali and Liam Livingston with the slower stuff. Ben Stokes is a game changer at any point in time. So look, whatever else is not there, captain has a lot of options in his hand. He can go for a couple of slower bowlers, but he has Ben Stokes. Again, the fact that Moeen, Ben Stokes, all of them bowl as well, just gives them a lot of variety in terms of what they can do. So I think they'll throw a lot of weapons. The interesting thing is, again, the stat that we were discussing, the fact that this Indian bowling attack has managed to knock over opposition 7 times in a row to get all 10 wickets. And I think that is absolutely amazing. Before the series started, everyone thought this was the clash of the India batting, the powerful India batting versus the powerful England batting. And it's turning out to be a clash of the bowlers. So I'll be really interested in seeing how this one turns out for the batsmen.
Yeah, well, India's bowlers certainly have been on top. Full marks to them for all 3 innings. Of course, 110 all out was a phenomenal achievement. But this time around, onus on the batsmen once again, Zaheer. And as we promised, we didn't manage to get to the V factor in our pre-match show. I think we need to discuss it here. No better time than today in a decider at Old Trafford than for Virat to produce a Virat special. It doesn't have to be phenomenal, but at least one that's showing us what he's capable of.
To put all the discussion to the rest, and I think the discussion will be even more if he gets runs. So so I think that's Virat Kohli we are talking about. He's uh, done great service to the team, to the nation. So the discussion is always going to be there. And like I always say, for any batter, you or a bowler, for a cricketer, it's about believing that it's going to be your day, and you're always that one innings away from producing a great performance. And he's been a match winner. So this is a perfect setup for him to just think about the team, think about the series, and just go out there and enjoy. I think that enjoyment factor is also going to be very, very important. And if you be thinking that 260, they can make a match out of it, uh, provided that they get the early wickets. And from India's point of view, it's going to be the same. So all the stalwarts, all the big guns need to come to the party, and the discussion in the Indian camp is going to be very simple. I feel focus on partnership. So if you're just focusing on that partnerships, and you just making sure that after every wicket has fallen, you consolidate, you take your time to get those first 15-20 runs, even if it means the set batter has to go a gear or two down. That doesn't really matter. And if they're able to bat with that kind of approach, I think they will be able to chase down the total.
Yeah, they've had two rehearsals, if you like it, of very different kinds, Joy. Game one at the Oval, chasing 110. It was just how quickly can we finish it. Poor number three didn't even come out to bat. In the second game, just when you're thinking, are we going to have this as not an easy chase, but a routine chase? That didn't happen, and India succumbed. So in this time around, you've probably been able to learn from your mistakes and therefore be able to construct a run chase for a total that's similar to what we had at Lords.
No, absolutely. And I think what Zaheer is saying, that Dravid will be telling his batsmen exactly the same thing. Don't allow them to get wickets in bunches, because that's what stymied their innings. They had their problems because they kept losing two set batsmen together. So the time to sort of recover was much more. Instead, if one batsman is still there, let him just play on, let him just consolidate a bit more. Let it take it's not a huge total. 260 in today's one day international scores. It's a decent total because you're chasing it in a final day for the deciding match of the game. But it's not a great total. I mean, 300s and 320s are routinely chased in one day internationals nowadays. So I think that's all they have to do. There's enough batting firepower. Just look down that list. I mean, Rohit, Shikhar Dhawan, Virat Kohli. I mean, what all do we have? Surya Kumar, Rishabh Pant. After that, you have Hardik Pandya. This is still seven. This is a super batting lineup. It's got really class batsmen. There's absolutely no reason they shouldn't do this.
But I think there was something about the mindset. I think if they had to tell themselves a few learnings, and I think even at the highest level, people do say that, okay, let's pick on something little that we can do differently. One thing I think we'll all agree on is those first 2 or 3 overs in the run chase at Lords, there was a defensive mindset. I mean, a bowler can always bowl a maiden, you can always bowl a brilliant over. But it just seemed that the batsman came out a little bit too defensively, saying, listen, this is a gettable total. We can be 6 after 5 overs, which is okay at times, but they probably took it 1 over too many on that occasion. Maybe they'll compensate for that today. Zahid?
I think you'll see a different side for sure. I'm sure that discussion must have happened. That don't let the bowlers get their rhythm. Don't let them find those good areas of the pitch. So those kind of discussions, I'm sure, must have happened in the lead up to the game, and you'll see that as well. It's important that any kind of total you're chasing, you still got to be positive in your mindset, and not be too defensive in terms of not playing shots at all. So yes, you will see that. I think when you look at these kind of totals, you also look at the England scorecard, and you'll see that only one guy has gone on to get 60 runs. Apart from that, everyone has been just playing and chipping in. So that shows that to chase down these kind of totals, what you need is partnerships, and someone to just get that 60-70 run. If you have two of them, then this total will look even easier. So that is something. And if it happens at the top, you will see then the doubt being created, the defensive mindset you will see in the bowlers from the England camp. So that's how the game goes. So you just going to try and figure out, how you stay ahead of the game, and that's why GB always talk about start is going to be very important. So England, they need wickets to set that tone, and for Indian batters, they need the positive approach, but also that partnership at the top.
Yep, it's the P factor, the P mantra, positive but partnerships. And I think that's where maybe England did one but didn't do the other. We know they only play one way. Jason Roy epitomized it with 12 runs in the first over. But then when you lose wicket in clusters, it just doesn't help. So I guess India will probably look at the England innings and say, yeah, we wouldn't mind a 12-run first over, but let's not lose any wickets. So I think that's the way they're going to go. Joy, in concurrence with Zaheer in terms of that approach?
No, absolutely. I think don't allow them. I mean, there's one thing about allowing bowlers to get their lengths, and these are very skillful batsmen we are talking about. People like Rohit and Shikhar are expert at that. Farming the strike, going forward, taking the single, changing the field around. They're expert batsmen. These are really experienced top order batsmen. So, and there, as I said, the fourth number of partnerships, they've scored so many runs together. So they understand each other's game, they understand each other's calling. So they definitely will play that well. And they'll be telling themselves, don't give them two in a row. Never give them 2 wickets in a row. Hold on to them. This is not a big total. We can go, at 3.5, 4.5 and over long enough. And at some point, we can still recover.
All right. Well, that's our analysis of the first innings. 259 is the total that England have gotten board. Certainly appears under par, but we're not going to say anything until the second innings finishes, particularly for what happened at Lord's. Now that Joy has got the prediction right, we're not going to go for a power play prediction, but we'll still have a bit of fun. Let's try and gauge, irrespective of who wins. We're not trying to suggest any favorites right now. Approximately in which over this match will finish, because it appears that even if India were to lose this match, they'll probably get bowled out, and they'll get bowled out within those 50 overs. If they win this match, aggressive approach, it could well happen early. So Zaheer, which over will this match finish in, irrespective of the result?
You can still go with India as favorites.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you can still back this team to go and chase down this total. I think the chase will be done around 43rd, 44th over. I think that there is enough for the bowlers as well. So this is going to be an even contest. You add the pressure of the decider, and I think in India, even though they will be dominating, I don't think they will look to close this game in a jiffy. They'll take their time. So I think 43rd, 44th over.
That's still fairly quickly. 7 overs to spare. England didn't use their 50, so why should India? Joy?
I'll go 45, 46. Just next. I could have gone 43, 44 as well. I mean, that close, but I'd say, yeah, exactly like Zach is saying. There's no run rate equation out here. It's not a World Cup match. The next match, they need to do anything. It's a decider. They just have to win. They'll take their time.
You've left me no option. I have nowhere to go unless I go 49. Whatever. I don't want it to be 49. It's going to be well into the night if we get into that. But since I'm getting it all wrong, I'll go for 49, which means it's definitely not going to be 49. So there's a good reason for me to say 49. Well, that's all we have. Onus is on India's batsmen. It's been all about the bowlers in the series so far. Can the batsmen grab this by the scruff of the neck and say, we exist too, and we're going to finish this on a winning note? That's all we have on Cricbuzz Live. We'll see you in 15 overs time in the 15th over of the run chase.